FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio.
This is the Comfy Lounge. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
And this is Two Millennials Talk. Two Millennials Talk.
Yeah, it's pretty simple format, really.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to think about with this show.
Self-explanatory name. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. We don't make you fire the neurons.
Not on this show.
No.
This show is inherently about laziness, lack of pre-production.
Basically, millennials incarnate.
Yeah. What everyone thinks about us, we've decided to prove you correct.
Yeah, except, we're also hardworking people in the business, so go figure.
Yeah, but that's like that's with our own shows.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is where we get to unwind and have fun.
No, this show is not at all about work.
Yeah.
Not trying that hard.
No.
Not for this one.
No, not with this one. It's a labor of love because we don't get paid at all to do this show.
To do this at all. No.
We don't see a red cent out of this one, so please, we're thinking about establishing a Patreon if you want to give us $3.
Yeah. We might do that just to...
Yeah. Can you imagine a terrestrial radio show having its Patreon? Like, how sad is that?
Fairly depressing, but like you said, we don't make any money from this at all.
No, we don't.
And therefore, are not inclined to like try and make any advertising dollars off of it. Or
well, see, the thing is, we're talking into tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, so I think we should probably be paying for it. Is the thing?
Yeah, it's definitely worth more than us.
Yeah, quite a bit.
So I have a couple of things I want to talk about. I don't know what you had.
I watched the Han Solo trailer you told me to watch.
Yes. And I want to know your opinion because you're a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
And this current phase of Star Wars movies have been largely disappointing.
Yeah, it's been hit and miss.
Yeah.
It's literally been 50-50 so far. So like The Force Awakens was good. I liked Force Awakens. Rogue One was good. I really liked Rogue One. But then the other one, no. Last Jedi was pretty miss.
Yeah, and I would say The Force Awakens wasn't a miss, but I don't know how it could have been anything but disappointing given like it just had massive expectations and it was never going to reach
there's no way
what people thought of it.
And that's why Rogue One I thought was so good was because I didn't really expect a whole lot out of it, but I actually got quite a bit out of it and I really liked Rogue One. But yeah, the Han Solo trailer, I don't know what to think about that. And that I know that's terrible for radio, but I really don't know what to think about the Han Solo trailer because like I want to like it, but I'm sort of like fundamentally opposed to its existence is the thing because I'm so sick of the trope of like everyone needs intricate backstory. I'm so sick of that because it takes all the mystery out of everything. Like, I mean, I like that the idea of like, oh, we get to see a little bit of Han Solo's backstory, but I mean, why? What's the point of seeing Han Solo's backstory other than just like you get to know why things end up the way that they do? It doesn't like that doesn't really matter to me nearly as much as the story that actually like mattered in the original Star Wars movies because that's like the pivotal point for that period in history, not like what Han Solo did before. It just doesn't really matter to me.
Right. What learning about what Han Solo did before, it does take away some of the imagination of you can just imagine him a certain way and you get that taken away from you in the same way that if you read a book and then see a movie based on that book, you imagine the characters one way. And now let's say you read Harry Potter, you're forever going to remember Harry Potter as Daniel Radcliffe. That's not necessarily a bad thing because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
But if you had a specific idea of what he was, it's no longer that.
Yeah, it's completely disappeared. Yeah.
So there's an official version of what that is. And so like that's what this is like you could have imagined Han Solo in a number of different ways, and now you just have the official version of what that guy is.
Yeah. Now there's the like Disney stamp of approval Han Solo.
Right.
Which really canon. That just that's the annoying thing. That really just irks me because it is like it's Han Solo written by people who have, as far as I know, next to no connection to the original like writing of the original movie. And that just kind of I don't know, that just kind of irks me. Like that's part of why Blade Runner, the sequel to Blade Runner, works so well is because it had a lot of the original staff on staff.
Yeah, Ridley Scott was even there to provide a lot of input.
Yeah, he was executive producer. I think they should have kept him as far away from the project as possible, which they did, and it worked.
And he's very mad about that.
He's very
Ridley
upset.
Scott, and he's a bitter old man.
Yeah, he's upset with what people did with his project that he doesn't actually own.
Which is now he wants to make another Blade Runner movie because, of course.
Yeah, because why not, right?
Yeah.
We need another one, apparently.
think there's just jealousy there.
There's a lot of jealousy.
Blade Runner 2049 was just really good.
See, Ridley Scott's a really good visual director. He's just really not good with story. And I know that that's like sort of blasphemous to say because he made so many really good movies. Like Gladiator is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Alien and Blade Runner are amazing movies. But like he just has this thing where like he will mess up stories if given too much control. He needs to be sort of reined in by the studio. Not a whole lot of directors you can say that about. George Lucas is another one who needs to be reined in, but he can make really good stuff. You know, he has that talent. It's just he really needs to be reined in.
Yeah, you can't let him get too far off the reservation because he will, I mean, go into levels of overtelling a story.
Yeah.
And that is very problematic with him.
And sure. It seems like with Last Jedi and what I'm afraid will happen with Han Solo is like I'm afraid that they'll let some director do that where he just like sort of goes crazy with the story and the studio doesn't really rein him in, which I know is weird because it's Disney, but it seems like a lot of that happened with The Last Jedi because it seems like a lot of the stuff that ended up in Last Jedi just really didn't need to be there.
Not only stuff that didn't need to be there, but like literally stuff that J.J. Abrams set up in The Force Awakens that just got tossed out in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So we're not even talking about like in the entire history of Star Wars. We're going from just a movie ago, nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Like one of the big secrets about Rey was like, well, what's her background? What's her family?
Yeah, and he totally supplants it. It doesn't matter. It's like,
but it does matter.
It totally does matter. Though.
That's one of the draws of watching this story.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how they're going to get that back on track.
They're going to have to either do retconning or they're going to have to do some really clever like cartwheeling around the issues to get, or they'll say like, well, he was lying, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, which I mean, in fairness, there is an argument for that.
Yeah,
but it's still
Luke didn't want her to see her full potential or whatever. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to, you know, make up a bunch of bogus reasons, but wouldn't it have been better to not have to do that in the first place?
Right. Well, see, here's the other problem with prequels, and it was done perfectly with Rogue One because, well, I don't want to spoil anything for Rogue One, but they perfectly explain why none of the characters that are in Rogue One are in Episode 4. It's because they all time travel to the future, but
like Samurai Jack.
Yeah, but the thing with a prequel to a movie like the Han Solo movie is going to be is, you know, all the characters who are not in A New Hope are going to die. You just know because there's nowhere they're not going to. So when you see the Woody Harrelson character, you know he's going to play some consequential part to Han Solo's life. He's going to be this big mentor, and you know he's going to die. You know it because he has to. There's no way he doesn't.
Yeah, it's crazy because I wonder if that has been considered. And I know it's like Disney's this gigantic company. Of course they considered it, but are you sure?
I don't know if they care is the thing.
Yeah, they like in their desire to just make money, because I mean, even at this point, Star Wars is still like printing money.
Right.
Have they considered that this is not necessarily something that's sustainable? If you give everybody a prequel, you do just sort of fill in those spots in the universe at some point, and then you do have to worry about a bunch of continuity stuff that maybe you didn't have to worry about before.
Right. Yeah, and there will be some, like, you see, this is the thing with Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans too. Really, any fans of anything are this way. There will be two groups. There will be the one group that just completely dismisses or sees it as separate, you know, whatever change that was made. Then there'll be the other group that does all the mental gymnastics to try to make it fit. You know, like obviously the puzzle, it's like you have a puzzle piece, you just want to finish the puzzle, but you know it's not the right piece. You try to just jam it in there. It's like, please just fit. That's kind of what happens with fans of different series and movies and things, where it's like Star Trek is riddled with it, because Star Trek is a continuity nightmare. Not nearly as much as Star Wars, but Star Trek is a continuity nightmare.
Well, if Star Trek keeps making prequels, we will get right there.
Well, they easily subvert that again with it being like alternate universe thing. So whatever. Yeah. But that's also stupid.
Though technically with Discovery, not really.
Yeah, I haven't
Discovery actually is part of.
I haven't seen Discovery. I hear it's really good, but I haven't actually seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but like that's one of the complaints that people keep having is that the technology is obviously way too advanced for where they are in this story.
Yeah,
the Enterprise is like still being built essentially, and they have technology that outclasses the Enterprise. Like, why didn't this story happen after.
Especially with the whole retro kick everyone's on. Why don't they just make a Next Generation or Voyager era movie or show where it's got all the stuff that's from then? Because people would eat that up. I mean, like, people would just buy the crap out of that.
People were ready for it.
People were begging for it. I was begging for it. You know me, I love both Star Wars and Star Trek. I know you're more into Star Trek, but like when I saw that they were making a new Star Trek series, I got hyped because I'm thinking like, yeah, they're going to bring back, Captain Picard. They're going to bring back maybe Captain Kirk. Maybe we're going to get to see some, old Captain Janeway, cool stuff, I'm all excited for. Instead, we get like a new cast of characters, which is not in and of itself a problem. But like for me, as someone who like is on a retro kick in that sense, where like I want to see the old stuff brought back because new TV sucks. It's just like, come on. I should say new network TV.
New network TV sucks. Yeah. I
know. I saw your face change when I said that.
Well, yeah, because it's just like a lot of new TV has been really, really good. But,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but I got a Hulu account because I got a Switch, and the Switch only has Hulu. That you don't have Amazon Prime and you don't have Netflix. So
really?
Like, all right, fine.
Oh, interesting.
Then I'll try out the 30-day free sample on it and see. And like a lot of the shows that they've been recommending me are network TV shows. And honestly, what a wasteland. I have no idea how people just sit down and watch any of that stuff.
I don't know how they do it either. And I totally get why the millennial audience is going away. It's not because of the inconvenience of the format. It's because the programming is terrible.
Yeah, the shows are bad.
Yeah, bring me good content and I'll watch TV.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord. Now, I don't know. There are a lot of shows like This Is Us is a show that people like. And when I say people, really like women that I know like that show. And so, but it has good ratings. Like if you make TV that people like, people will watch it. Like if you keep putting a bunch of things into a machine and trying to like grind out like just reverse engineer some show that you think people will actually like, that's when you get into trouble. And we've seen Lost ended, and then NBC tried to have The Event and a number of other awful shows that they were trying to basically reverse engineer what it was that people liked about Lost and make a new show.
Yeah,
it's like no.
It's like when 24 got so popular, you suddenly had a bunch of like tactical like show crime special agent things,
which we still have. I forget the name of the show, but CBS has been pushing it lately, and it's like this show doesn't look very good. But okay.
No offense to CBS, obviously, but yeah, some of the
just some of their shows.
Yeah, some of the shows are just terrible. It's just all there's to it, and that's true with any network.
We made fun of the Big Bang Theory so much.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that people called.
Yeah, we
remember that episode.
We actually made, but I think that proved that the audience for the Big Bang Theory is not actually young people, because I don't know anyone our age who actually likes that show.
Me neither.
Yeah, see, exactly. Like it tries so hard to be hip that it fails miserably. It's not a good show for people our age.
Which is funny because the characters in the Big Bang Theory are supposed to be our age.
Yeah, but they're actually all middle aged.
Like they're almost like 40.
Yeah, most of them are old enough to be our dads. So that also really doesn't work. They're supposed to be like fresh out of college. No thanks.
Or at least when the show started, they were.
Yeah,
it's.
And Sheldon is looking like older and older
all the time
as it keeps going, and you just know they're going to drag it out as far as they can.
Nope, and they can't hide it, but they're doing it.
They can't do the whole like How I Met Your Mother thing where it's like he's implausibly old by the end of How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
It's like, now hold on, he should have had like 4 kids by now.
And well, honestly, and he should have met their mother at some point.
Yeah, at some point. Like, what was the span of time between you meeting her and getting married? It must have been very short.
I don't know. And the whole thing that annoys me the most about that show is that it's actually a flashback of him telling his kids how he met their mother.
Yeah.
And he's just essentially sitting down, boring them to death with a bunch of unrelated stories about him and his friends.
Yeah. I never really thought about that.
I mean, none of these stories are related to the thing that he is telling them about.
And some of the things he really shouldn't be telling his kids.
Yeah.
And also, how does he know about all of his friends' love lives is my other question.
In a deeply personal way.
Yeah. He knows about his 2 married, I guess they're married, I don't know, his 2 married friends who are, like he knows about their bedroom affairs and stuff. That's just like kind of odd.
Does that not seem creepy and odd to you, man? Like, you know all of these things.
You imagine like sitting down and telling your kids all this, and then they go, like, Barney, is all that true about you?
Right.
But your dad told you what?
I told him not to tell anybody that.
The show should be like How I Got Dementia.
Yeah, How I Got Dementia, or How I Lost All My Friends.
Yeah, How I Lost All My Friends.
Because I snitched all of their personal business and put it out in the streets.
How I Spied on My Friends.
Like there's stuff there that he shouldn't know unless someone told him.
The big reveal should be he's an NSA analyst or something.
He's been bugging them the whole time.
Yeah, literally bugging them.
I would watch that show.
Yeah, I would.
That
totally
show I would watch. Yeah.
Yeah. So Han Solo, I just I don't know what to think about it, and it's annoying to me because the trailer does make me want to see it for Han Solo. I do want to see Han Solo, but I'm afraid to see it because I'm afraid of the disappointment.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I can understand that.
It's like the like Pavlovian conditioning.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like, if I reach out, am I going to get slapped? Because I don't know. I'm salivating, but am I going to get slapped? I don't know.
And that's the thing too. Because when I first heard that they were making the project, I was not interested.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't going to. But then I saw the trailer and I went, well, I might like it.
I mean, yeah, you can listen back to archives of the show. We were both like pretty much opposed to the idea of them even making the movie, but I will say they did succeed in at least making me interested.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point in the whole development process, I guess that's all you can ask for.
I don't know. I'm just sick of the fan service because it's so blatant and so obvious.
It's blatant, and to me it doesn't enhance the universe in any way. It doesn't expand you in any new directions. I don't know what relevant world building is going to happen in that story.
There couldn't possibly be any.
You know, it. And then, of course, there's the idea. For me, the only redeeming thing with this is that essentially in The Force Awakens, killing off Han Solo is just like, he's not... here's the cool guy that you grew up watching.
Yeah,
he's dead now.
Yeah,
everything
it's like,
that's cool about your childhood is dead.
I hate that because it's like ultimately he didn't end up mattering very much in The Force Awakens. You know, like he reached his apex of usefulness and then they threw him away. Practically, literally, they basically threw him away.
Right.
They set him up so he could be Ben's father, and then they just throw him off a cliff. Basically, literally throw him off a cliff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like. It just seems like insulting as a viewer, and I know that's not the intent. Maybe it was. I know that's not the intent, but it just comes across that way where it's like, here's all the stuff you liked. Bye.
Yeah.
You're going to take our new stuff. You're going to like our new stuff.
And so this feels like some kind of weak, depressing apology where it's like, well, he was cool before we killed him.
Yeah, what's going to be next? To freaking like a Luke movie?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they've already done that. It's called Star Wars. Just go watch Star Wars.
Well, no, actually, the thing that got ruined with Luke was The Last Jedi.
Right, yeah.
Where
Luke was fine before they made the new movie.
Yeah, where you could have imagined that, after all the events of Star Wars, Luke just continued to just live an awesome Jedi life. And and there were a bunch of books too, which I haven't read any of the books.
Oh, they're really good.
But people like those books, but now the books aren't canon. The movie is.
Yeah.
And so
okay, so here's where, and I'm gonna go. What they call it now, Legends. I'm gonna go extended universe on you here for a second.
Okay.
The standard accepted canon is that Luke goes like 100% monk mode basically, and like Shaolin monk, and he starts up his own Jedi temple on Yavin 4, the Rebel homeworld, which also happens to be like the original place where the Jedi temples were. He sets up his own Jedi temple, like Jedi school, and starts training Force-sensitive people as Padawans to be actual Jedi to get the whole Jedi thing going again. Because remember, at this point, he's the last Jedi. Luke actually was the last Jedi by the end of the movie, unless you count Leia, which, she's Force sensitive. I wouldn't say she's a Jedi. She does become one, though, in the extended universe, so that if you care about that at all. But Han Solo has kids, by the way, with Leia. They're twins. They're Force sensitive. They get trained to be Jedi. They go through their dark stints and their light stints, and it's not bad. It's okay. It's got some weak points because you got 1,000 different writers writing different books. But all in all, as like full on really dumb some of the extended universe stuff is, and I will say some of it is really, really dumb. I don't know why they jettisoned all of it, because it really doesn't make any sense for Luke to just be like, well, the Jedi are dumb and I don't really like them anymore and I'm not going to be one. It's just like, what? That goes like against everything.
It was an infant temper tantrum is what it made it look like to him, rather than, I don't know, a guy with legitimate criticisms of the Jedi Order. Like, it was just a weird...
Why not just make your own Jedi Order that's not the Jedi Order then at that point?
Yeah.
Just make your own school of gray Jedi, as they call them in the extended universe, and there you go. Because like Qui-Gon is I think one of the best Jedi ever. I'm a little bit biased, but I think Qui-Gon
is cool though.
He's
so, I mean,
pretty rad. So why not just like make a bunch of Qui-Gons if you really, if you're so into like the gray Jedi thing, which Luke appeared to be.
Yeah. And so that just kind of, I thought that was really off-putting. It's like either we're going to give you a prequel where we have a possibility of ruining what you got to imagine before, or we're going to make a sequel where we're just going to ruin everything that you imagined after. Like, just Disney is just bookending you in a really bad spot if you're a Star Wars fan in a lot of ways.
And they pick and choose really odd things to make canon from the EU, by the way, because Thrawn is in it, and that just doesn't make any sense at all to me.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's just really weird.
Well, we just completely nerded out there for 20 minutes.
I guess we'll talk about Black Panther next.
Yeah.
All right.
Just continue the nerd train.
Why not?
Two Millennials Talk. I'm Keon.
I'm Russell.
See you in a bit.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
A Hickson man is on life support after a vicious attack in jail. 48-year-old Tim Cook was repeatedly kicked in the head by a fellow inmate. Sheriff says the accused attacker surprised him and kicked him in the head repeatedly before guards could pull him off. The TBI is handling the investigation. Meth lab components and large bags of crystal seized in Bradley County. According to WDEF, detectives seized about 8.5 ounces of meth worth about $23,000. The sheriff's office say they also took in about $1,100 in cash. The investigation on this drug distribution case continues. Hamilton County deputies have 2 suspects in custody after a chase that began on Highway 58 that ended in Meigs County yesterday afternoon. The chase ended near the Blythe Ferry boat ramp. Sheriffs aren't saying what started the chase, but they do say nobody was hurt in the pursuit. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, News Now.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now. The University of Tennessee at Chattanooga football recruiting class has been ranked number 8 in the nation by HeroSports.com. The online publication announced that on Wednesday. The Mocs are the top team in the Southern Conference, followed by Mercer at number 11 and the Citadel at number 24. Princeton had the number 1 class in the country with Yale, Montana State, North Dakota State, James Madison rounding out the top 5. Harvard and Jacksonville State were 6 and 7, while Central Arkansas and Eastern Washington completed the top 10. We spoke with head football coach Tom Arth of UTC about the recruiting process.
Great opportunity to be a part of an FBS program, but at the end of the day, what I don't think that these high school students realize is like those 3 letters, FBS versus FCS, like those 3 letters don't change your life.
Chattanooga State Community College is growing its athletic program to include women's volleyball in Division II, the National Junior College Athletic Association, beginning this coming fall. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader, Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Cash, 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 and more cash. Watch it gush out of your TV. Rick Davis is on national TV. Wow. Golden diamonds, coins, and more riches. Rick's selling, Rick's buying, and he's on national TV. Watch him Wednesday, 11 p.m., right after the Judy O'Neill Talk Show. North Georgia Cable TV 265. You won't want to miss it. It's a mountain of cash, cash, cash. And it's catching the Hollywood spotlight. Hey, if one day hasn't got your head spinning, how about a second? Rick Davis is on Fridays, Channel 12, 10:30 a.m., right before The Price is Right. You gotta see it to believe it. Wednesday, 11 p.m., North Georgia Cable Channel 265. Friday, 10:30 a.m. on TV 12. 2 big shows every week. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. You know where it is. Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Cash, 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 and more cash.
If I were a rich man,
Goss Insurance. Yes, we are local. And no, we don't have an 800 number. In fact, our mobile numbers are on our business cards. We live, work, play, and worship in Chattanooga, and we would love to help with your insurance. Business, auto, home, life insurance. Call now, save money. Call Goss Insurance for all your insurance needs. Goss Insurance, 875-2500. 875-2500.
Hey, dude, check this out. Have you ever seen one so big?
Whoa, look at the size of that.
Look at this little itty-bitty one.
Wow, that's really small.
They have them big, small, and everything in between. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives at the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. We're talking about over 40 brands of knives, including Benchmade, WR Case & Sons, Booker, and all the Frost Cutlery brands. Now, Sam, you've been to the cutlery shop. Is it amazing?
Spectacular. The knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. They have knives, swords, kitchen knives, ammo, and reloading supplies, plus survival gear.
It's the knife shop at Frost Cutlery. Open 7 days a week. Hey, girls, you're going to love this. We're going to the knife shop.
Hey, let's not tell them they have ammo and loading supplies.
The knife shop at Frost Cutlery opens 7 days a week. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives. You're going to love the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. The knife shop.
20% off on selected items.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News. NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at NoogaRadio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
You're listening to Two Millennials Talk. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
And we spent the greater part of the last segment talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, so why don't we get into Marvel? Because why not?
Because, well, we're already here. We've allowed Disney to just take over this show.
Oh, gosh, I forgot they're both Disney.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
Well, and they've consumed Fox now, so...
Oh, man.
so many more things are going to be Disney in your life.
Well, they haven't officially consumed Fox, have they? I thought they were just in...
Yeah, it wasn't that they consumed Fox, but they...
They're looking at buying bits of it, I know that. But I didn't think the actual
the movie part.
Right. I didn't think the actual transactions had taken place yet, but I could be wrong.
It's one of those things that it's considered to be a foregone conclusion, but it's not a foregone conclusion just yet.
Okay. Well, whatever. So Black Panther is apparently, according to Rotten Tomatoes, the greatest movie ever made. Is that your assessment too?
It is not the greatest movie ever made, but it's a really great movie.
Is it as impactful as they make it out to be as an African American yourself?
I think so.
Okay.
I will say that just because there are some scenes that, or at least to me, I'm not used to. I am not used to there being that many like relevant Black characters on a screen.
Okay.
And then they did some really interesting things in the movie where there's a CIA agent in the movie.
Everyone hates CIA, dude.
And well, he's actually one of the good guys, but he's
no way.
Well,
he won't be.
But he's sort of treated as the token white guy in the movie.
Oh, that's weird.
And then, it's just a weird thing to see. It's not even. I don't know. You don't feel good that it's happening. It's just like, no, this really ought not to happen. In any direction. Like, it just feels bad. But yeah, he was. But the movie is really, really good, really well written, and I think there's a lot of very unabashed racial things in the movie, but it's not preaching at you.
Okay.
I didn't think. And certainly not until the end, like where it's just like we can do better, a kind of deal. But I don't think the movie was preachy in the way that it could have been preachy.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Because that's what I was kind of worried about. And I was actually, and you know this because I've said it before, I've been more open to Black Panther than I have any other Marvel movie because I saw the trailer and I was like, that actually looks pretty good.
It's really good. And honestly, it's very much its own movie.
That's good.
In a lot of ways.
I'm so sick of franchise movies. I'm just sick of that.
Yeah, well, I think everyone's getting sick of it. Yeah. And I want to say it was a Vox story that I read that said that this might actually just wind up being the future for a lot of superhero movies, is that you just maybe go through these peaks and valleys where you bring everyone together and then you break it apart and go back to individual stories.
Okay.
Because when the stories are their own stories, they have been pretty good. Even going back to like Thor Ragnarok, which does have the Marvel tie-in at the end, because the nature of that story pretty much necessitates that it happens in Asgard. It's not even on Earth. So it pretty much is its own story.
Yeah.
And then you had a director in Taika Waititi who's who has he again is a guy with his own sensibilities. He's a very funny director. There was a lot of improv scenes, and so like Thor Ragnarok didn't feel like the rest of the Marvel movies. I think that Black Panther is the best Marvel movie, though.
Okay,
I think pretty easily.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable making it.
Is it better than the Raimi Spider-Man? Because that's a high bar.
Well, okay. I liked the first Raimi Spider-Man.
I got you here, don't I?
So I was not so big a fan of the second one.
That's fair.
I thought the third one was awful.
That's very true.
So I will say I think I like Black Panther more than that. Yeah.
Really? That's interesting. Okay.
But even
because that elevates it in my mind, because it makes me more likely to see it now.
It is to me very much the story of the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Sort of his origin and where he fits into the world. And if you are, the king of a nation like Wakanda and you're just secretly hoarding all of these resources, sort of what should you be doing about that when you know that there are poor people in the world and you know that there are people struggling, like Wakanda's whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's a sort of like parallel, by the way, between Wakanda and America.
I've heard that.
Because they have their borders up and they are like, we have all of our stuff and it's cool to be here. We don't want other people coming in here. But should that be the way that you are if you have the ability to help other people?
No.
And it's a very... but the movie I think goes into it very in a very nuanced way that I think a lot of Marvel movies don't.
Well, Marvel and nuance usually don't go hand
typically
in hand.
Don't go hand.
I'm not talking about the comics, by the way. I'm talking about the movies.
The movies specifically. I just think that one stood out on its own.
Okay.
And it's my favorite. Like, if we're going to exclude, everything that came before this Marvel universe,
okay, I
would say this is by far the best Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
I really like that one.
That one is my second favorite, and that was previously my favorite. So I would put this above that. But it's really good. And the acting is brilliant.
Well, they have a bunch of really good actors in it.
Yeah.
You can't really go
Jordan,
wrong.
Lupita Nyong'o, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like an A-list, basically.
Forrest Whitaker.
He's in it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's got a pretty big role in the movie.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But Michael B. Jordan plays the bad guy, Eric Killmonger.
Cool name.
Very, very cool name. And he's a very cool character because, of course, most of the characters in Black Panther are African.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Killmonger is part American, and so that there's also some extra story tension there. Like there's just a lot of stuff, man.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I kind of want to watch it now.
But it's a good movie. I would recommend watching it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe I'll get the DVD or the Blu-ray, whatever.
Yeah, just however you want to watch it. It's because it's not something that you need to watch the other Marvel movies to understand what's going on.
Okay, good, because I haven't seen any of them past Winter Soldier.
Right. And honestly, a lot of them you don't, because you realize there's like 19 of those now.
Seriously?
You're on 19 of these movies because we've had at this point 3 Captain Americas, 3 Thors, 3 Iron Mans.
Yeah, 3 Iron Mans,
2 of the regular Avenger movies, plus we've got Black Panther now, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And I know I'm missing a bunch of other stuff. Just off the top of my head, those already puts us in the double digits.
Yeah. The thing and this is something I've noticed, by the way, with the Marvel movies, is that every single one in a trilogy, there'll be one that's the good one, and there'll be the other ones that you sort of forget.
It's absolutely forgettable.
Yeah.
And in the event of Iron Man,
it's number 1.
You could say that number 1's the one that you remember, and you could even just toss away the other 2. Really,
I would say absolutely you should get rid of especially 3 because that was horrible.
3 was an abomination.
Yeah.
And it's weird because 3 is supposed to have the villain, the Iron Man villain, that is actually the coolest, and they made him stupid.
Which one is he in 3? I don't remember.
The Manchurian.
Oh, the Manchurian. Yeah, that was really dumb.
Yeah.
Especially the big reveal. That was just
and that's the opposite of how you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, the way when I watched it, I was like disappointed. And you should not feel disappointed at a big reveal for a movie villain.
Right. And here's the thing is we still had like 30% of that movie left to go after you got disappointed.
Yeah.
You didn't get to be disappointed like, oh, I'm watching an M. Night Shyamalan movie and then his plot twist is just dumb.
Yeah.
But the movie's over.
Yeah.
No, we still have a bunch of movie left to go with this stupid plot twist that you've given us.
Now we have this idiotic villain that I don't even care about, and this idiotic hero because Tony turns into a total moron in 3 for some reason.
Completely dumb. And the anxiety and the panic attacks do not explain how stupid his character acts in that movie. Also, possibly the worst representation of Chattanooga on film ever.
Yeah, not only does it snow for whatever reason, they make it look like Kentucky, you know, Podunk, Kentucky.
What are you talking about? You filmed the movie in Georgia. How did you manage to get that wrong? We're right there.
We're literally right there. Yeah, there's no shots of the aquarium. By the way, you know, no shots of any. They have this odd like "Welcome to Chattanooga" sign that's like wood and stuff. If I remember correctly, we don't have that.
No, it was funny because people in the theater wanted to be excited about the fact that Chattanooga was on screen. It was like the most half-hearted. Like it's us, but it's not us.
Oh my! Every time I go to this is a fun theater story. I love theater stories.
You have too many.
I have too many. Every time I go to the theater, something stupid happens that's just really funny. So when I went to see Iron Man 3, and there's this guy, by the way, like nearly every time I see a movie, this guy is there. Not like literally the same person, but this kind of person is always there. When Chattanooga came up on screen, one guy in the back goes, "Yeah," and sort of tries to get it going. And there's just one guy going,
There he is.
Yeah. It's just the one guy.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam's that guy.
Sam's the other one. Yeah. It's just the one guy, and everyone's just like kind of uncomfortable because you have the other assorted claps that just sort of go, because no one cares. No one cares.
No one cares. If they had done it well, people would have cared.
Yeah.
But no.
The first time I experienced that, by the way, was when I went to see The Dark Knight, which was 11 years ago.
Well, you're going to make me feel old, but yeah.
I feel old because I went to the midnight premiere. My dad had to drive us because we couldn't have our licenses. But I went to see The Dark Knight at the midnight premiere. No, actually, you know what? My friend David drove me. David's son David drove me because he was 16. He had his license. I forgot about that. No, he was 17. I was 16. Yeah. Anyway, we were dropped off. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We went to see The Dark Knight, and it was the part when Commissioner Gordon reveals he's not dead. He comes out of the back of the police car, and he's got the shotgun aimed at the Joker. He says, "We got you now." And like 2 or 3 people in the background went, "Yeah." And like David and I kind of looked at each other and was like, what? Like the cool scene is ruined by these 2 jackasses in the background. Like, yeah.
Just clapping.
It's like, shut up. I'm trying to watch the dang movie and you're clapping.
I don't know what causes people to do that. For me, I'm never the guy that I don't react to what crowds do generally.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just not the person to do this. But I also remember I went to go see Batman v Superman, and at the end of the movie,
that was your first mistake.
I actually kind of liked it. But,
okay.
I know where the flaws are. I know it's not.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I just heard it was bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't like superhero movies and you're generally fed up with how like overly serious they can be and how they take themselves entirely seriously on a level that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, then don't go see that one.
Okay.
But I liked it. But I went to go see that movie, and I think that everyone in the theater must have been like the most hardcore of DC comic book fans, because like we were seeing Superman and Batman shirts everywhere.
Oh no.
And so when the movie was done, people stood up and gave that movie a standing ovation.
Oh my
gosh. When I left the theater to discover that actually nobody else liked that movie, I was floored. And I did it because I was like, oh, everybody else must have liked this.
At least 50 people liked that movie a lot, enough to give it a standing ovation.
And they were all the 50 people in the theater that I was in.
I will say, though, I've had experiences where like you go to the movie theater to see a movie and you really like it, and then you like a week later you're like, wait a minute, I hated that.
Oh, I have the most tragic version of that story.
Well, for me it was Terminator Salvation, but go on.
Well, Terminator Salvation is a very good example, actually.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, Green Lantern.
Oh,
it's a bad movie.
Yes,
but I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. He's my favorite superhero. So I watched that movie and lied to myself for 3 whole months until that movie came out on DVD.
Yeah.
Whereupon I watched it again, and just like the admission that comes from really deep inside yourself, where you're like, this movie is awful. This might be the worst thing I've ever sat down and watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
I don't think anything could be as bad as the Green Hornet movie was, though. That was such a massive disappointment.
It really was.
especially like just Seth Rogen doing much of anything.
Yeah, why him? Why was that the casting decision that got made? Especially since I thought they nailed Kato.
Kato was awesome. Jet Li was perfect.
Just I cannot believe
they should have just made a Kato movie, honestly.
Yeah, I would have watched that.
Yeah,
but I can't believe that it was just like, you know, you have Kato and you nail that casting, and then Seth Rogen as anything super ever.
It just makes no sense. It was, especially because it's like classic superhero, because it's super like 1940s superhero,
yeah,
which is super cool. And then they just like ruined it. It's so many missed opportunities to be cool, and it's just terrible. And it's weird, you know, speaking of superhero movies, it's weird how like some of the ones that are oddball out there end up being better. Like I'd say Watchmen is still one of the best superhero movies out there.
Yeah,
because it's just like a dang good movie on its own.
It gets what comic book movies are supposed to be about, and in large part because, you know, you give something like that to Zack Snyder and say, hey, just do what you do. It's a deconstruction of comic book movies in the same way that Watchmen the comic is a deconstruction of comic book heroes.
Yeah,
and so that's really cool. And then Zack Snyder's style is, you know, the slow motion stuff, which generally can be tiring and annoying. But that's how, like, you see a panel in a comic book and then you see another panel and your brain sort of fills in all the stuff that happened between panels. And that's what watching a Zack Snyder movie is like. So it just felt like a perfect movie in that way.
The opening sequence, the opening credit sequence to that movie is still one of my favorite things in any movie ever. And I've seen like a heck of a lot of movies. I still I will watch that on YouTube on its own several times like a month, because I just really, really like that setup where it's like alternate history 1960s. You know, it's just like so dang good.
Yeah, like really, really, really well done. And I'm trying to think of if there are any other movies like that stand out, where it's sort of a fringe hero.
Blade, I guess. Blade's really good. Judge Dredd was amazing.
Which I fully expected to not like that movie.
Yeah, I did too.
I was very much prepared to not like it, and I hadn't read a ton of Judge Dredd at that point.
Yeah,
but then I watched it and I was kind of mad because besides myself, I liked it, man. Like it was, it's a great movie.
I had actually watched or read quite a bit of Judge Dredd when I went to watch it, and I expected it to be really bad. And I watched it and I was like, this is actually really dang good. And once I got over the whole, like, I'm not going to like this thing, I actually really, really liked it in the theater. I was just like, this is a great movie.
Yeah. Well, there I go. I missed something awesome. I didn't see it in the theaters. I expected very much. I expected not to like it.
Yeah. It was only in the theater for like 3 minutes too.
Yeah. It wasn't there for very long, but I had a friend that was like, no, this movie's great. You have to watch it. And then when I watched it, I was like, well, I should have gone to go see it because I had a chance to.
Well, then there's the movies though that people don't actually know are comic books that are really good movies, like Road to Perdition is a really good comic book. It is also a really good movie.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Which actually that's another one of those where I watched the movie and then I discovered it was a comic book after. And
I was the same way because I was like a little kid when the movie came out.
Yeah, and also that's a very violent comic.
Yes,
and we had it in our high school library.
Really? Yeah. That's funny.
They had so many comic books in our high school library that we should not have had because they were just, oh, it's comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's for kids.
No, they're not.
Don't you know it's for kids?
Not all of them. We had issues with Punisher. We shouldn't have had in the high school.
Ooh. That reminds me. I showed you the picture of the Punisher issue I have.
You did?
Yeah, so some backstory. This is a fun little anecdote for our last little bit, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. So I bought a bunch of different comic books at, I think, McKay's and at an antique store. And I don't remember which one I got this at. It doesn't really matter. It was the antique store. And it was called the Punisher Back to School Special. And I'm like, okay. And on the cover, and I know in recent events this is horribly, offensive, but on the cover is him like kicking down a door with a machine gun, firing into this door and into the doorway, which is now open because he kicked down the door. And it says in big letters at the top, "Back to School Special." So
yeah, just the difference in times.
Yeah, that on its face, just like obviously it's pre-Columbine. Obviously, I think it came out in like 1995 or so, because this is like a big anti-drug thing, it turns out. Oh, wow. So this Punisher comic is the Punisher going to a gym, working out like a madman, like staring at these roided up guys, like just like giving them the death stare. And then when he catches them taking steroids and trying to sell them to younger guys who are trying to get into working out, he just beats the crap out of them in the gym and like basically just murders them right then and there for trying to sell steroids to kids. And the whole message of the back to school special, it's a parody of back to school specials, by the way. It's really funny. But the whole message is just like, don't do drugs, kids, especially steroids, because, you know, high school kids are getting into steroids, apparently.
Well, that's the thing is, you know, if you're an athlete.
Well, I mean, I get it, but it's like not the most widely thought of thing.
It's like, don't do any drugs, but specifically don't take Dianabol.
Yeah, like anabolic, like HGH, you know, like
don't take human growth hormone.
Don't take HGH, kids, or I'll come and murder you. It's just kind of like, it's usually crack. Like when I was a kid, it was weed and it was crack. And those were the two things that like everyone was like, do not ever do weed or crack. And of course, in the South, it was meth. No one had crack in the South. It was all meth. So it was just like, it just seemed like steroids. Crack. Yeah, steroids. Just like, what? Does anyone do crack anymore? Is that still a thing?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean,
for me, like I've only ever seen meth as a thing. I've actually seen meth in real life too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't like with anyone who had it, but I like saw a guy who obviously had meth in his hand, which was kind of weird.
Hamilton County, I think a few years ago, I think 6 or 7 years ago, was the highest producer of meth in the United States of America.
Yeah, Missouri, I think, is one of the higher producers right now. Than Hamilton County in the country. Hamilton County, I think, is the highest producer in the state, although it may be Sequatchie or Grundy. I'm not sure. But yeah, Hamilton County has a heck of a lot of meth. It's just like crazy.
It's like, man, that's
not because of a fault of law enforcement, by the way. I will say the law enforcement is doing a very good job cracking down on meth. It's just like it's an impossible task.
Yeah, it's just hard to stomp out. Like the biggest sellers of meth are also meth addicts,
right?
Who sell meth for their meth habit.
Yeah,
like that's a hard one to defeat.
Yeah,
just on any level.
Yeah, I mean the sheriff's office does what it can, and it does a really good job for the most part. But yeah, meth is hard to stomp out. So don't do drugs, kids. Just don't.
As the saying goes, meth, not even once.
We're not squares, but don't do drugs.
No. You're listening to Two Millennials Talk on 92.7 FM. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
Catch you later.
Don't do drugs.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7